Philippines Tzu Chi volunteers conduct long-term visitations for medical cases like the Molit twin sisters. Tzu Chi volunteers have started their preliminary home visitations ahead of the annual winter aid distribution. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Lori Chen. Thank you for joining us. There's been non-stop rainstorms across the Philippines for the past couple of days, especially in the area of San Mateo. The tropical storm Henry that passed just a couple of days prior does not help the current situation either. Hundreds of residents had to evacuate their homes and went to stay at the local shelter. It just so happens that the hardest hit areas were the exact same places at the 2009 Typhoon Kasana. Tzu Chi volunteers, as always, reacted in real time and quickly gathered aid supplies to provide for the displaced residents. On the 22nd, a heavy rainstorm hit San Mateo and Marikina, causing massive flooding. Tzu Chi volunteers immediately went to the stores to purchase aid materials and distribute them to the local shelters. Just a few days ago, on the 18th, Tropical Storm Henry ravaged through the area. The lowlands in San Mateo were heavily flooded. Volunteers quickly traveled to the largest shelter in the area to care for the 253 displaced residents.
We escaped the flooded area and came here, but it is also very difficult here. My son was also injured on the way. He was hit by a motorcycle.
We prepare bread for the affected families. Each household has one bag of bread, which consists of 6 to 9 pieces. If the family is larger, then we will provide them with 2 bags.
During the flooding, it just so happens that the Tzu Chi University students from Taiwan were there for their exchange program. The young volunteers quickly follow local volunteers to the shelter and perform sign language songs to cheer up the residents.
I'm very happy to see the students from Taiwan interacting with our primary school students. Being a teacher myself, I can feel their happiness. I saw that love really is the universal language. There are no barriers.
Looking back to the 2009 Typhoon Kasana, the towns of San Mateo and Marikina were also the hardest hit areas. As soon as Tzu Chi volunteers heard the devastating news of the floods, they, as always, quickly responded to the scene. Local residents can always count on Tzu Chi to be there for them in times of need. The second pair of conjoined twins from the Philippines are already turning 9 years old this year. Looking back to when they were flown to the Tzu Chi hospital for the life-altering operation, time really flies by quickly. The local Tzu Chi volunteers have been regularly visiting the Molit sisters, and both of them have been excelling in their studies. Another medical care recipient is a burn survivor named Alden. He became a Tzu Chi staff member, which allowed him to support his family. Unfortunately, he was recently diagnosed with bone cancer, but he is optimistic and brave in facing whatever challenges come his way. The Molit sisters used the traditional way to greet the volunteers. In 2009, it was Tzu Chi volunteer Kochita Dan who accompanied the conjoined twins to get the life-altering surgery in Taiwan. Now, the two are already in elementary school.
I'm like their nanny. I take care of them with their mother. Before, I accompanied them to receive the surgery in Taiwan.
Among the sisters, the younger sister's immunity is weaker. Last year, the volunteers arranged for her to return to Taiwan to deal with unhealed wounds. On visitation day, the younger sister was also spiking a fever.
The younger sister is almost always sick once a month. Her older sister is better. The younger one likes to run around a lot and always comes back full of sweat, so it's easier for her to catch a cold like this.
In terms of learning, both of them are among the best in the school. They are also motivated by volunteers to participate in Tzu Chi humanistic culture classes and learning simple Mandarin phrases. The volunteers then went to the home of Alden, a gas tank explosion survivor from 2005. The Tzu Chi medical team saved his life, but he wasn't able to walk or work anymore. So Tzu Chi hired him to use a computer to handle warehouse inventory and thus being able to financially support his family.
If I'm able to help Tzu Chi or others, I would always feel like my hands get lighter, like I don't even feel tired or difficult at all.
Unfortunately, at the beginning of this year, Alden was diagnosed with bone cancer, causing his right leg to be amputated. The volunteers were heartbroken over the news.
He really is a good person. Both hands aren't able to move already, and now his leg has been amputated.
Due to the long-term visitations and support of Tzu Chi volunteers, many cases in Cebu, such as Alden and the once conjoined twins, can survive life's hardships and face the future with hope. The Tzu Chi Medical Association held a 3-day clinic in Sri Lanka. More than 4,000 people showed up. Many mountainous villagers walked hours just to seek the much-needed medical attention that they have been looking for. It was a really heartfelt scene when they were finally receiving the medical care that they so desperately needed and deserved. T. Pimasiri has been suffering from chronic skin disease on both legs for over 20 years already. He didn't even dare to wear shoes. He knew there was a free clinic and walked for an hour to come seek medical attention. Volunteers brought slippers for him, and the doctors gave him the much-needed medication that he required. Kasumawati came to the free clinic with her 6-year-old granddaughter, Kivendi. The little girl had her teeth checked out, and the grandmother received a pair of reading glasses. When they were leaving, the little girl kneeled before all the staff members to say thank you for their generosity.
I didn't bring any gifts, but thank you so much to everyone. All the people here are so kind.
This year marks the 11th time the TIMA team has gone to Sri Lanka to hold a free clinic. This time in a remote mountainous area in Baduralia. In 3 days, more than 4,000 people visited the clinic. There was one elderly woman suffering from skin sores on her legs. When she arrived, she was full of sorrow, but left with a giant smile after the necessary treatments.
他们也很辛苦，他们也很忙，然后。
They are very hardworking and very busy people. The fact that they are willing to spend their time and their money to come all the way to Sri Lanka to help our citizens is really an honor. I feel very grateful for each one of them.
Taiwan, Singapore, and local medical staff all joined hands in making the free clinic such a success. This time, there were 3 pairs of parent-child physicians that came together for the mission.
3 sets of parents and the next generation come for mission. Thank you very much.
Filled with heartfelt stories and the cycle of great love will be deeply rooted in the local communities. A dialysis patient, Mogul Home in Kedah, Malaysia, was struggling with mobility issues when he first started treatments in 2014. With encouragement from nurses, he was finally able to walk out of the shadows. Now, due to the improvements in his mobility, he has found a new hobby, gardening.
Mogul Home enjoys clearing out the weeds in his vegetable garden. He is now 63 years old. 6 months ago, he transformed the land around his house into a vegetable garden to give him something to do in his leisure time.
I've planted vegetables in many different areas near the neighborhood. I'm delighted because I earn modest proceeds from selling these veggies in the market.
He goes to a dialysis center after he takes care of his vegetable garden every day. He was diagnosed with kidney failure at the beginning of 2014. Tzu Chi came into his life to offer assistance when he worried about weekly dialysis costs. The companionship of volunteers and nurses allowed him to recover well.
When I first came here, I was unable to walk and needed the wheelchair. It's the nurses that kept encouraging me to learn to walk again.
We have found that his muscles are still tight during the monthly exam on his legs. He was discouraged to stand up again, but we kept on encouraging him. It was the happiest moment for all of the nurses when he stopped again.
Mogul Hong has gradually recovered after receiving dialysis in Tzu Chi for more than 4 years. Now he not only can walk independently, but he can also help his children's work.
I'm happy that my father is sound and well now. He shares some of my workload by helping me cut coconut. Helping each other in the family is excellent.
I must take care of my health and keep a positive mind so that I can live to see my grandchildren growing up joyfully.
In Kaohsiung, Taiwan, 65-year-old Tzu Chi volunteer Zhang Yumei has been dedicated to recycling plastic bags since 2012. Although she later lost her husband and was diagnosed with cancer, she stays motivated in her recycling efforts. Currently, not only does she collect plastic bags at local markets, but she also leads other community residents in sorting out recyclables.
Sister Yu Mei invited me. We're volunteering to support DaAi TV. I've seen many elderly volunteers on DaAi TV program who do recycling for the sake of the earth and the future generations.
When Sister Yu Mei invited me, I said yes. She gives me a ride here. Without her, I would not know where to go, as I cannot ride motorcycles. It is convenient to come here. The neighbors come here to volunteer, and we can socialize. It is quite good.
More than 10 years ago, we were here offering blood pressure measuring services to the residents. After watching DaAi TV, they've learned to do good deeds. They know that plastic bags can pollute the earth, so they're willing to volunteer.
People really overuse plastic bags. The government is starting to restrict the use of plastic bags. It is good to recycle them. Otherwise, we'd have to burn the plastic bags, and that worsens the already polluted air quality.
I see it as hard work when I feel tired, but that is only temporary. You still need to carry out the work. Master has taught us to alleviate the suffering of the sentient beings without selfishly seeking our own comfort. The Master is the best role model, doing everything to help the sentient beings despite her frail health. He died of a heart attack and we received $39,000 in insurance claim money. For me, both my children and I are in good health, so I thought we should donate the money received to help others who are in more need.
应该把它捐出去，帮助别人。谢谢，我们一起去做环保。
I dropped by the market one day, then I found out that it was a grandmother who was collecting plastic bags before, but she fell ill and stopped the collection process. I then thought I should continue her work.
This Tzu Chi volunteer is very good, really. The pollution caused by plastic bags is serious. Look, I've separated the plastic bags for her, so she doesn't need to sort them. Had we mixed the plastic bags, she'd have to do more work. Now we've saved her the work so she can go to more places.
I am deeply touched since she's very dedicated. I pick up and save recyclables, then I gave them to her when she comes. I cannot stop doing this. The Master taught us to do what is right. We should try to do the work while we still can.
In Shandong, China, Tzu Chi volunteers have started their preliminary home visitations ahead of the annual winter aid distribution. They went to a farming village with a list provided by the local Civil Affairs Bureau, where 80% of the residents are seniors living by themselves.
Although winter aid distributions are several months away, Shandong Tzu Chi volunteers have started their preliminary home visitations. This year, they are accompanied by a local official to visit Lingang district of Lingyi City.
We've seen how Tzu Chi volunteers travel long distances to come serve our local residents. They treat the people they help like their own family. They practice great love. Compared to Tzu Chi volunteers, we've done too little.
In the farming village, residents are mostly solitary seniors. 75-year-old Xia Zhaoqing has a serious eye disease and can hardly see. The volunteers chat with him while handing him some snacks.
I think we should invite our children or young people to join us in conducting home visitations. Once they've seen how people suffer, they will cherish their own blessings.
79-year-old Chang Chuanying is paralyzed and unable to control her bowel movements. Her son is also physically challenged. Seeing the needs of the senior, the volunteers treat her as if she's part of their family.
Once I entered the house, I forgot about everything else. Seeing the elderly woman lying on the bed, emitting a foul smell, I felt terrible. So I took a pair of scissors and started to cut her nails for her. The seniors need our love. They will feel our love even when we do something simple for them.
The Li family's triplets also feel deeply touched. They capture the touching moments with their camera.
Not only do we record it with our camera, we also remember these scenes in our heart. In the future, we will cultivate both blessings and wisdom.
Before the winter arrives, the volunteers have delivered their best wishes and love to each family in need. Their sincere care has warmed the hearts of these care recipients.
It is currently extremely cold in Johannesburg, South Africa, and Tzu Chi volunteers have decided to increase the annual winter aid distribution into a much larger scaled one. Not only giving out the normal aid supplies, but also bags of rice to more than 2,000 impoverished families in Primrose.
In the low temperature, Tzu Chi volunteers start to prepare for the distribution early in the morning. While some people set up the venue, others unload the supplies. This is Johannesburg Tzu Chi volunteers' first large-scale winter distribution in 2018, benefiting the impoverished residents in the slum areas of Primrose.
I just want to say they're amazing. They thank you. They just give so freely of their time and that they organize this, that over 2,000 people have benefited today. It's amazing.
Tzu Chi has spread seeds of love in the slum area since 2003. After 15 years, seeds of love have sprouted. Whenever volunteers hold distributions, residents who donate money to reciprocate.
All the time, people that are poor think they must only receive. But no matter what they have, they must always give back a 50 cent or a rand what they have. And through that, other people will also benefit.
Besides the volunteers, the local employees of Chinese business owners have also used their holiday to help out at this aid distribution.
I think that we all have so much that we can be grateful for, and we take it for granted. And just looking around at the people that are here and the people that have come out, stand in the cold from early in the morning, just to be able to receive something that we take for granted, which is just rice and sanitation and food and clothes and stuff like that. That's touched my heart in a lot of ways.
Guided by more than 100 volunteers, the recipients line up orderly. More than 2,000 families are able to benefit from the winter aid distribution. In addition, many have made donations to help other less fortunate people.
The law requires companies and organizations to hire a certain percentage of both physically and/or mentally challenged individuals. A great example of this is an elderly daycare center in Zhanghua, where 6 of these individuals bring great smiles and joy to the local seniors.
35-year-old Ajun and 41-year-old Hui Ting are employees of the daycare center. This morning, they're busy at work.
Grandpa and Grandma, what do you place underneath your head when you sleep?
Ajun, who's like the grandpa and grandma's grandchild, plays riddles with them. Ajun, who's mildly mentally challenged, is shy. In the past, he hid himself when coming across difficulties.
They do not know how to interact with people or ask him for help. Therefore, we take the initiative to care for them.
I support the grandpas and grandmas as they walk and lead them in activities. They praise me for doing a good job. He might think for a long time if we ask him a question. During the process, we need to discover his strengths and expertise.
41-year-old Hui Ting's right palm was cut by a machine, and therefore she has a disability card. She also suffers from mental illness. Despite that, her optimism and passion for helping people has made her popular among the seniors.
I feel very happy working with the elderly as I enjoy helping them. Since my hand has been injured, I'm a bit slow in doing certain tasks.
They can define and design the work so that physically challenged individuals can learn from the simplest work.
Our society has certain stereotypes and limitations of the jobs of the physically challenged. We cannot limit what the physically challenged individuals can do.
As the mentally challenged individuals get their recognition by working at the daycare center, they've proven that their efforts can overcome stereotypes and limitations.
Taiwan Tzu Chi volunteers have set up activities that are suitable for both senior citizens and children in the community. Not only do children bring smiles to the elderly, but it's also a great filial piety learning experience for the younger generation. Let's take a look at what general happiness looks like. Thank you and keep smiling. Goodbye.